overlords with the mass air units, and he's going to be able to put a bit of a dent in that, almost getting him to a supply block, but maybe more importantly, seeing the infestation pit.
Indeed, those Infested Queen, of course, very good against Phoenix. I actually wouldn't mind Classic swapping into ground play here. He's got to get a third base though, and that's his real immediate problem. His main base is finding out his natural's getting low on minerals. He's going to go and take the third on the right-hand side away from this creep spread and just using lots of stalkers on the ground to support this arm.
It's quite awkward, isn't it, too? Because he didn't go for that robotics facility tech. He's still actually adding 3 Void Rays at a time. I'm almost expecting a Fleet Bacon at some point here, but without the sustained detection, it's also a bit annoying to deal with these creep tumors, because your only other way of dealing with it is to crank out and...
What is your business here?
What do you want?
What's
your composition?
Indeed, I mean, you're up against Queen Infestor, you know this. How do you deal with it as Classic is the question. Taking 2 gases on the third base. I think his goal here is to just get so many air units, spread them all out in a big arc, and then overwhelm. As long as you're spread out, fungal growth is not going to be that powerful. You can hit a big attack, overwhelm these queens while they're still in not too huge numbers. The problem, of course, is the Spore Crawler's backing that up, and so much transfuse energy. I don't know how you can crack through this as Classic, but I mean, with no pro production on the way, he's just starting it up now. I feel like he's a little bit too far behind. He's got to do something with this army.
Yep, and we were talking about the vision that creep affords you as well. While he does want to make an attack happen, and Nidus is about to finish outside of where that third used to be once again, so possibly funneling some units in that direction. And trying to engage into Queen Infestor is going to be very hard, but here he goes, big jumping in. Some Infested Terrors going to get thrown out, trying to lift up the Infestors while the Void Rays fire at the front. However, those Marines, well, regular Marines are going to get Void Rays, and so are these ones too. Classic will be routed off of the 4th base of Dark.
Those Infested Terrans doing the work there. The Spores anchoring that, and we see that Queens, they might not be that good at pushing across the map. You give them some Spore Crawlers, you give them some Infestors to support,
quickly.
and that is the ultimate anti-air force. Classic right now, he's stuck on redundant tech. He's going back into mass Phoenix.
He's still building 3 Phoenix at a time.
He's desperate right now. He's looking for a way to make this work. He's got to crack through. He's too far behind economically, but he just can't do it. Roach is going to backstab into his third base at the same time. And these Void Rays, they're trying to crack through. But I mean, look at that. They can actually take out the Queens at the front. Hydras are starting to rally out. They don't have a lot of upgrades. There's a good Phoenix down here. Classic trying to just push his opponent over.
He's getting a bit of momentum here. Of course, Void Rays are not going to be great at disengaging, and they're quite flimsy against these fast-shooting units. First one is going to fall. Of course, the Phoenix energy is going to be the timer for dealing with those Hydralisks as the Voids move on to damage to those. We actually have Classic. Once again, that looks like
I think he's going to bring all the units to the front. He's got to pick up the numbers. We'll be able to cover that third. Right now, Classic needs to focus on his push on the other side of the map. He needs to get in there and do more damage. Right now, a third Void Ray goes down. There's only 2 left. Only one left. The Void Rays are gone.
Void Rays are one of those units that do not have any armor by default, so those +1 Hydras obliterate them in a head-to-head engagement. And look at that, Vipers are going to be added to this too, Pigs. I mean, you start abducting these units and throw a parasitic bomb on those Phoenix. This army is a clever idea for the defense.
Speak your business.
Stargate opening versus the Nidus, but I'm not sure that the longevity is really there versus a late-game Zerg composition.
My life for the throne.
Dark to take advantage of this. And I love the fact that he just went to the Phoenix and the Infestors, didn't rush up, and now he's out of the Hive, the Vipers, the parasitic bomb. And we saw how good it is against Mutalisk. Similarly effective against Phoenix. These Phoenix are going to come in and dive on top of this. The Hydras quickly turn and focus fire. There are lots of the Phoenix falling.
I mean, he's gotten the Hydralisk backline taken out, but with just a few unupgraded Stalkers and a handful of Void Rays, the Phoenix run out of energy. And at that point, they can no longer contribute to the fight. So, yeah, okay, grab a few Overlords, sure thing, bud, but that is not going to be the play that he needs to make to win this game. It's 16 Phoenix, 3 Stalkers versus what's basically going to be Hydralisk.
The blood trolls are scattered, but we must find the source of the rot and destroy it.
Other sad thing is,
Guard yourselves. Who knows what lurks in these caves?
You know, I admire the way he's playing this series. Classic, opening up with this sort of cannon rush. A fake cannon rush, trying to play to his image, and then shift back, and that didn't work out. Stargate Phoenix hit. These are all these very one-of-the-meta plays, which Zerg players aren't as practiced against, much more room to capture a they're going through this series, Classic recognizes probably the underdog here against Stars. Definitely trying to make it work for whatever he can.
dangerous to be that close. parasitic bomb. Splitting against that quite difficult, as that could be catastrophic damage to the Phoenix count. And we have Dark getting ready to try and put a nail in this one.
Yeah, even making Bane like here, it's like no, there's like 4 adepts.
You don't need anything easy ground. I'm sorry. So here's good news. I guess good news in a way.
Oh, the parasitic bombs, Nate, they're gonna go down. The Phoenix diving forwards, but 4 parasitic bombs.
Nope.
And goodbye, Phoenix.
The air gets posted, and yes, he did get rid of a good number of the Hydras, but it's not enough. Dark takes game number 1.
There from the start, respecting the cannon rush right from the start, and not letting anything down. Unless it's Zerg to let that get out of control, but science right through to the finish. That's the Dark we don't.
That's worse than Classic was like, hey, I'm gonna do the pylon in the spot that makes it look like I want you to think I'm cannon rushing, but I'm really not. But then I am cannon rushing, and Dark doesn't undercommit, doesn't underestimate his opponent. Coming out of that lead, you said he was going to take back the first. All the cannons were being built. And the target especially in this matchup. Usually a deep shooter for late game corruptors, not so useful in the early stages. But we saw there it was kind of the seesaw, right? Where if he kept that third Nexus alive, that was very close. And he shut that down before those Spore Crawlers got up. May have been able to establish control. And you know, I can't help but cast my mind back. I'm sure actually at that stage. The cannon rush though, a massive overcommit. He saw there were drones down there. He threw cannons down in a very unprotected position. Lots of surface area, and it really was not worth the investment in. So an uphill battle. I love the fact that he went for one of the crazier responses as a follow-up. When you're down, you can't just play stock safe and stand. You're gonna gamble. You're gonna cut a corner here and there. And I think it goes without saying that we still expect some degree of those difficult to deal with builds to come out of Dark. If Classic says, oh, I'm going to play straight up, yeah, you know, I'll go Phoenix and agree Oracle, no big deal. And all the blood of Locust landing on your Nexus and one-shotting them. You're like, okay, well, that's kind of rough, you know, so I don't mind seeing this type of play out of Classic, but because maybe if he's really, even with the setup he had, as you said, if he's able to save the third just because of the creep too, like he was forced to take the other base.
Yeah, I mean that is such an annoying position with the Spore Crawlers.
For the glory of Gahun!
I actually love the 2 Stargate though. You know, Rotterdam's been going on and on about it. Wouldn't mind 2 Stargate Oracle even actually in one of these follow-ups.
Rotten Wither!
Obviously, there's lots of wild build orders out there. We are seeing Dark win that first
Gahun
map.
be everywhere!
Following that with the Bloodbath. Remember, like, of course, a big map up next, and one which
Rotten Wither!
out of the pool. The best for Protoss, despite the strength of the Swarm.
Well, let's see if this man can make it work, or if we'll see something a little bit different. We are loaded in the bottom right.
Rotten Wither!
Showing some creative styles.
Rotten Wither! Blood for Gahun!
Starting this series off in such a scrappy manner. I think we look for silver linings in everything, and for our round of 8 when we first went into it, I think one of my favorites, one of the fans was going into this about, you know, in StarCraft lore, there's supposed to be more Zerg, like 1 or 2 Protoss, like, you know, Terrans never really play against Protoss in lore, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Classic is supposed to be the purifier, to show up, eradicate the Zerg infestation. That's his whole run will have been if he was able to make it happen. And going back to the last game, there you go, pylon right in your face. He says, what are you going to do about it?
Positioning this pylon. They're up. You get away from that. Forge was never even down this game. And Dark here, yeah, he pulls the forward. I like the way he's balancing it out. He even checks over there in case there's like a proxy gate or something, takes the third base. So whilst he's losing mining time on the drones, says, I'm going to make up for it by still getting a quick third base. We're going to respect the threat of the cannon rush. But I think it's like the perfect balance between respecting it and not overreacting.
Yeah, I mean, that's classic taking advantage of what is, for many people, the most difficult aspect of StarCraft is not necessarily what is good or bad, but how easily you can be aware of what is, to recognize whether my opponent is doing something because he thinks I'm going to respond in a certain way, or because he's actually doing it and he's hoping that I underestimate that move. Inside of the classic. Well, I mean, honestly, at this point, is he worried about that Slumhouse? Confident against that, you should be able to be confident against everything.
Interesting early stage in this matchup. Trap. We've seen people shy away from 3 oracles a little bit more. A little bit more 1 oracle, 2 oracles. So basically just investing less in those air units. Check up a little bit faster and hit the ground follow-up attack.
I like to use the map a little bit, recognizing the creep in the nation. It doesn't cover everything for the Zoran Thunderbird, so he's able to kind of touch the depth, but goes to the natural and uses the depth for a drone.
That's where it's sloppy. And so right there, at least forced a bit more. That's quite early. The scout realizes Dark Sword is droning very hard. Highlight council box. Only 1 gas from the natural. Almost like an follow-up. So tries to go the distance. But I think
Really? Really? What a fucking white. What a fucking idiot.
Yeah, we've seen a good bit of that today. Trying to play the event up. Make that one for those range units will be pretty nice. That third, but the Queen very good. Out of his mineral lines.
You know, these 2 players have last time they played in a very important DSL match.
This,
that was horrible.
Okay, he's going to go for the Observer first, so not necessarily going for a massive reinforcement to all in here, but the Adepts have arrived. Resonating Glaives is completing.
There's only 6 Zergans out there. There's a lot of Queens. 5 Roaches have just popped, but that is 13 Adepts with that Glaives upgrade, and they have already taken out 1 Queen. Going for a second one, going to shade right on the He's going to go for the Stasis Trap. I absolutely love this move. Stasis Trap really
up, getting a total introduction with charge, but the attack is still in play, ripping and tearing to the Zerg economy, bouncing for back towards the main such good focus fire. Workers as they get away from line. Dark down on 35 workers against them. Classic's got a second robo. He's got charge right away. This is a big swing back into the momentum of the Photos player. Yeah. We talked about what makes this map good from Protoss versus Zerg, as you were mentioning earlier. Thunderbird Thunderbird. There's really only one way to get into the Protoss base here, and with the way that this game started, with the economic damage that he was just able to do, with how much he distracted him, there's no Nidus in play. There are no swarm hosts to pop out of those hypothetical Nidus, and for that reason, this looks pretty damn nice for Classic. You are not running Immortal, or excuse me, you're not running Roaches into a choke point versus Immortal, Pig. It's about the worst thing you can do.
Yeah, I love the way Classic doesn't even sit back, runs down, force fields two of the Roaches is like, get out. Nope. Just leave my base alone, mate. I mean, that already makes Dark worried. He's going to start the infestation pit. I think Dark is actually forced into a position where he kind of has to play some sort of comeback game. War modes, obviously, very powerful. But I don't even know if he can afford the time to play. And Mortal, I don't think he's hitting this yet, but he's forcing more Roaches. So he's just using that strong position he's built for himself. Up Dark progression.
Every punch that he can throw at Dark is going to delay the inevitable shenanigans. And the last thing that you want to be as a Protoss player is on the back foot, on the defensive against that. You want to be able to keep those swarm hosts on the third side of the field, force those locusts to be used defensively so that you can choose where the engagement is going to take place. If the Zerg can force it on you, well, then you're either taking out your army
What
units,
manner
those
of
three
creature
locusts,
is
or
this?
they're picking off your
It
economy.
must not be allowed to reach the surface.
Mortal's gonna
Destroy
come in,
it
will focus
now.
down just one worker. Good focus fire on. Gonna push those Mortals out. That seems to be a home right now. We got
Can't
10
hold
seconds
on.
now. The Nidus Worm is up. And right now, Dark is gonna easily launch a focus out of Nidus Worms very soon. First time we're going for North. And I don't know if Classic is expecting that. That is what he's ready.
We all know.
Really?
When it comes to Swarm Host, the first
Really?
wave sets the tempo for the rest of the game. Without anything there to catch it, to prevent it, to stop it, to delay it, he can take those locusts, right-click on that Nexus, and if the army is not in position, he could pick it off. And then he gets up to the morale unit, forcing out a few of the force fields, grabbing his sentry, and some of the arcade units of Classic.
You know, not as bad as it could have been. At least his entire army was there to intercept some good walkers and pick up to save the load. Side as Classic moves out to establish his core base. I think once again, the style of choice for countering this team career, if you get up and up Link Stalkers, they're so mobile that you could just evade the locust waves, and when they're on cooldown, that is when you jump on top and force the engagements. But right now, Classic is not in that position. It's a mostly Immortal army with a bit of Psystorm. He needs to Psystorm these locusts down. They represent so much damage, Nathanius.
That big Locust wave going out now towards the fourth, while he has a Nidus in the natural as well. And the Locusts land on top of the Immortal, trying to take him and move him around, but the Ravagers are also raining fire upon the Protoss army. Classic is able to hold on against this wave.
There goes all of his energy though, forced to hold those high Templar into Archons. We've also got that Nidus Worm threatening this side. That's it. Classic says, okay, I've got to push you away. I can't let you launch these locusts for free over and over. I've got to establish control over my side of the map. Pushing forward. Took the work to follow up. Stage as well. Very strong distant army. But it just
Forcing it. Also red hair. Far out, he's gonna right click on the Nexus, and he is going for it. His shields are gone. Less than 50%, and it is knocked down. That's a fun moment, and that is where you can start to snowball the Swarm Host with those Nidus. He's gonna pop it over here. Be careful, some of those Locusts not on cooldown, don't want to get trapped outside the worm.
Yep. I mean, good play here, only losing a few low-cost units for Dark. He's got bank building up. He might not have the biggest economy, and his upgrades definitely aren't too high, but Classic is in panic mode right now, just frantically running around, playing whack-a-mole, trying to snap these Niduses down before they become too much of a problem. And I gotta tell you, Nathaniel, that is a big Swarm Host count. That is not a small number of Locusts. They represent so much damage in this army.
And Psystorms being used against them, while effective, are going to take way longer to regenerate, as Biles are even able to hit some of the Archons in the army. I will say, if Classic has anything going for him compared to other players that we've seen face the Swarm host Nidus, he got over 120 supply. So at the end of the day, your goal is to get a big enough army that you can bulldoze 1 or 2 waves of Locust and just kill the Zerg players. Since that's really going to tie up a ton of their supply, doing a little bit of Immortal juggling, going to be careful as they do low on their shields. But this represents a really big opportunity for Classic to stage a game-setting up fight.
Yeah, he's going to force these Locusts on the defense. I mean, Dark here, you can't unload those Swarm hosts on the other side of the map. He's only got a few Lurkers, Roaches, and Ravagers. He's going to do it anyway, the absolute madman. He's going to throw the Locusts defensively with a Protoss army knocking on his doorstep.
Down to the Archon there too, and I gotta say, yes, he did lose the base on the southeast side, but he was able to pull the Protoss army back, so kind of playing a game of chicken, as it were, in this Protoss versus, hey mate, you want to attack into me? That's fine, but I'm gonna kill everything else you've got and keep popping worms all over. So he says, no, I'm not gonna let that be what happens here. Losing a whole base of smoke is catastrophic, considering how much that fourth base has been played in this game.
Very brave Zerg to do that. The Lurker's now going to come forward, and a very awkward engagement here. But the storm on the clumped up Lurkers might just be enough. Oh man, those High Templar get blasted by the Lurker splash. But look at the Immortals are cleaning out every single Lurker.
He is bulldozing his way through this army. The lack of the Observer suit, or the Immortals could not kill the Observer. They keep those Lurkers alive. 19 Hydralists are on the way to let's not forget
Corruption!
launch a wave to keep the Protoss at home could be a good play, but I'm not sure has anything over there to try.
Oh dude, the upgrades are getting so good right now. That would be 2-1 for Classic. He's got shields on the way as well. His upgrades getting out of control. Dark has to use these Locusts defensively. They are going to be very powerful. Hostile coming in at the same time. Lurk is not quite ready. They're trying to buy time for them to morph. Dark coming forward, trying to get a defense together.
+2 missile attacks is going to finish on it as well with a decent number of Lurkers. I believe that's 7 of them to lock up that central position. Of course, you see the way that things swing with those mineral patches on the sides of the bases. It does kind of cut it off and create those points that favor the Zerg. But he's got salary base. He picked up no hits on that half-free even big.
Yeah, that's a big mistake there. And, you know, Classic finds a bit of a bummer. He lost a lot of units there. He hasn't replaced his High Templar until just now. And he engaged, and then he didn't have any observers. His observers got sniped in the fight.
I
Now he's
have
got an
never
Oracle and
seen
2
this
observers. He's got a
form
lot
of
of detection
corruption before.
to deal with these Lurkers.
If this
but the
spreads to the
Nidus
surface,
Swarmhost
we will
still
not be
presenting a
able
huge
to
threat
contain
on
it.
his side of the map.
And that is where the Swarm host thrives. Your army is on the right side of the field. Well, you're going to have to take a trip to the Bifrost and go for the defense if you want to keep yourself economically in this game. And so he does. A bunch of Immortals will go home. And that's going to take the pushing power out of that Immortal army. Does it though? He gets a storm out of the Lurkers as they whirl right in front of the Immortals.
detected.
Quite a precarious position to put oneself into.
Dark with an uncharacteristic mistake. He thought that Classic had pulled his entire army home to defend that and ends up getting ambushed in the middle of the map. Classic's got to be careful though. These units are so damaged. These Stalkers and Immortals just running out of their own. Classic
Containment
pushing
failing.
forward like
Mother
an
not
absolute
responding.
madman. I mean, really, that's 2 Immortals and a handful of Stalkers together. But I feel like Classic has to take a deep breath here. His army is not ready. It is not complete. As much as putting pressure on your base is good, he's got to realize that this point Dark has Lurkers and Hydras, and he's not feeling the need to use the Immortals defensively. Another Nidus Lurk pops up. The Locust in the base. Classic, you've got to go home and defend.
He gets another wave. That Nexus is gone. Kills the defending Zealots inside of the main too. Could throw down another worm if he so chooses, but like you were saying, Pig, it's so hard for him to attack here. He's got a ton of Immortals. He does have the Storm now.
Why?
Overseer
Why do you
seemed
do
up
that?
to extra vision, and if he can pick up the Observer, that's going to help so much.
He's got to do this right now. He just lost his 3rd base. The Storm was big, but he's out of sight. It's his Immortal blast onto the 2 Stalkers. He's starting to crack through. The Immortal standing strong. Still 6 Immortals up for Classic.
Hitting down the Immortals, shoving back the Lurkers. The Observer still alive. Gets the Revolution. 1700 for production. He does still have the Storm. Defensively, they're getting onto the Immortals. He needs something. He needs to continue to move away from the Immortals. He has to run that risk without the Prism to juggle them. The Immortals are starting to get chipped away.
Yeah, the Immortal barrier's all down. The Immortals
lurkers. They are in position. Server has stayed alive throughout all of this. If he can target fire them, one of the lurkers picked off. He goes to the second, and he does get them. Another lurker is on the top side of the play. The swarm of the Red. He did chip off 5 of them with just 11 swarm hooks left on that harass.
Well picked up there by Classic, but having that third base gone behind it was a real bummer. He has taken a 5th to replace it, so still on 4 bases here. Oh,
the Prism gets killed with the mortals inside of it as well. Suddenly this 4th base is in dire straits.
that was like half of Classic's army inside of that War Prism right now, Dave. He does not have a lot of tools to work with. He's in big trouble right now. Lings in the mineral line, side-storming 3 Hydralisks, a short sign of desperation. Classic, he's desperately trying to hang on. I thought he put himself into a good position in this game, but Dark is just relentless.
Using that terrifying look at the movie on a changeling blocking the ramp. Those 2 immortals cannot get out. He has used that Nidus Storm mode that we have seen so much to great effect here in this match to keep the Protoss player at home and to deal catastrophic amounts of harass damage. They're going to swoop down onto the southwest base. The Hydras are here. He's going to recall towards it with everything that he's got left hand. But I do not believe that's going to be versus Logan. I'm going to get Pig.
Oh, that is not how you should treat your workers.
GG Dark eviscerates, obliterates, and annihilates Classic in game number 2.
I really thought Classic had got his feet underneath him in that series, but you could see there that Dark is just such a ballsy player. You can't intimidate him. Most sane Zerg players would pull home when there's that big of a Protoss army knocking on their door and defend with everything. Dark said, nah, I've got faith in my lurkers and my Hydralisks. I'm just going to keep popping that Nidus Worm up in your base. And the damage just got out of control. I think Classic had a moment where he just couldn't believe that Dark was brave enough to continue to throw the Nidus Worms on his side of the map.
Yeah, absolute madman, as you said, Pig. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to a quick break. When we return, we will continue on with Dark versus Glad I could help.
2019 is brought to you by T-Mobile. Their newest signal goes farther than ever, and it's built 5G ready. MSI, True Gaming.
I think it's RE1. RE. Wasted a mass resurrection. Who the fuck is this dick? He's just not here? What? Jesus, that's fucking a horrible group.
I am listening. Before me! My life for the Emperor!
Is that the pet's target? That one's the pet's target.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the StarCraft 2 World Championship Series Global Finals. We are so close to determining our second semi-finalist, and we welcome all of you here at BlizzCon. Thank you for hanging out with us and watching some awesome StarCraft. As far as the most history in esports go, it's kind of hard to beat this one, Pig, and boy, oh boy, this tournament is shaping up to be one for the books.
I mean, the arena is filling up more and more as we get closer to the grand finals, and the second semi, I mean, the games have been scrappy, they've been a little bit messy. So far, though, Dark has been impetuous since the get-go. Looks like nothing can stand in his way so far.
He is terrifying. He's been absolute monstrous in this series, and we had what seemed to be some opportunities for Classic on Thunderbird, but unfortunately was not able to stem the overwhelming tides of Locust washing upon the shores of his base, wave upon wave. Maybe this is where he turns it back, though. It wouldn't be the first time something crazy happened, Pig.
I mean, we've seen him do it before against Dark. We've seen him do it before against all sorts of players. Classic is one of those players who can make amazing comebacks happen. He's done it in all sorts of matchups. He's got to win Disco Bloodbath, Ephemeron, and then Triton 3 in a row, back-to-back. And at this point, I mean, is it Blinking time? I hope so. We're going to have to wait and see.
It's time to throw the kitchen sink, ladies and gentlemen, as we are loaded into map number 3 in the northwest of Disco Bloodbath. We have the red Zerg player. He is Doc!
And his opponent fighting for his life. Down here in the bottom right-hand side of Disco Bloodbath. He needs all of your energy, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Classic! It's a hard road. At this point, you got to throw caution to the wind. You've got to lay it all out there. You can't freeze up at this point. You've got to say, look, to win from here, effort. If I can do it, if I can get that together, it's going to be something people remember for a long time.
Yeah, we think about the way that he has been playing this series so far, and the focus seems to be cause chaos early on and try to stall and delay that mid-game phase where the Zerg player goes into that Nidus Swarm host. In game number 1, it was off of multiple Stargates, and he put himself in an awkward spot where,
with our lives.
He had Void Rays versus Zerg, and that's just early game not really going to do a whole lot for you. And then in game number 2, the Adept Harass, that huge attack, really did a ton of damage. He was way up on workers, way up on his supply, but by the time that he was trying to get ready to move out with his army, the game of Zerg Whack-A-Mole had already begun, and he was once again stuck inside of his base, unable to really get out on the field with attack with the units that he needed. It did look closer and closer compared to that first map, but he really will need to bust out something truly special if he wants to not only, of course, win this game, but mount a 3-game-in-a-row comeback against, well, the #1 ranked player in WCS Korea points this year.
Yeah, arguably the best Zerg in the world right now. I'm sure Cyril Raynor and the others up there, Rogue as well. You know, we'll have something to say about it. Of course, in this tournament, we know exactly who it is who's going to be fighting against the winner of this match. That is going to be Raynor, waiting for the winner of this. Dark just looks so strong. He's his own flavor of Zerg. He's a Zerg who's not afraid to cut a corner here, to take a risk there. And that's what makes him so scary. I feel like a lot of these players, when you talk to a Protoss player going up against Dark, they say, look, sometimes he just goes all in with the craziest attack. We saw him in the group stages, just building a big pack of Ling Bane at this really odd point where it was meant to be effective, but because it was so surprising, he was catching his opponents off guard with it. Dark is a guy who has a pretty good range of strategy, and so he's a guy who's got to mix things up. It's hard to keep your confidence and to keep kind of double checking and trying to get your reads on Dark while you're pulling these funky strategies out. So scouting is super important for Classic.
No, I mean,
The Warpath must not fall!
Dark played against Maru. He dealt with Maru's attacks the first 2 games, and then once he was up 2-0, he said, oh no, I'm going to bring the fight to you. And, you know, he was able to kill him with that. So a lot of it just comes down to not only are you trying to pick a build that will stop Dark mid-game or prevent it, you're also trying to be aware of the fact that you're for you towards mid-game. And whatever strategy you're doing may not necessarily be good if you're going to Ravage to bust you, do some sort of weird cheeky and Bane thing going on. You gotta be so careful playing against a true mastermind of the Zerg race.
That Oracle opening here. Gonna come right on across this map. Look at this Queen, so well positioned. Gonna go straight to the natural actually. Spore Crawler is not down there, finds an open mineral line. Classic finally in this series gets a little bit of damage done with that first Oracle. Nice start.
Yeah, getting the 3 drones, flies over towards that third. Gotta be careful. Losing the Oracle would be really bad.
That's still nasty. Even losing that many hit points is actually really bad, even though the shields regenerate. Once you're that low, you really can't take a lot of hits.
That becomes a stay-at-home Oracle for the rest of the days.
That's the revelation of the Stasis Trap Oracle for sure.
I'm just, yeah, I'll take care of stuff at home. I can't really go out too much anymore with this low health, so
Love this slow
chill.
ground. I love Bullpen.
Resonating Glaives again. I mean, it did do a significant amount of damage in the last game. A lot of it comes down to whether or not Dark gets a read on this. For Thunderbird, the defense came down to getting the roaches out, had some lings, but he took a lot of damage, right? So maybe in this case, if he recognizes that's what it's going to be, already sees a large number of Adepts to start off, perhaps we get those Banelings and, you know, get a couple of those splash on these Adepts. That attack gets neutralized real quick.
A lot of minerals right now for Classic. I think something's going on with his build order. He's fully walled himself in right now, but his gateways are only now coming down. He cannot take another base. Okay, it is going to be a 2 base depth all in. All right, all right. I was
going for the Neeb 2017 build.
Oh yeah, this is a ton of Adepts. And you know what? When your opponent responds with a Baneling nest, Nate, they do not have a super good answer to it. If you spread those Adepts out, the Banelings can't hit too many of them, and Adepts trade very well versus Zerglings. Of course, Dark still does not know this is what he's up against, but because he's confused, he says, where's your 3rd base? Where is your tech? What are you doing? He's dropped the Roach Warren. It's only a matter of time till he does have those Roaches out.
Now this is going to be where it all starts here. He needs to get a good first engagement, splitting those Adepts as you were talking about, Pig. He is going to throw the Shades to try and bait the army back to give himself time to make those moves, but also really importantly, you want to get that Warp Prism over there to help support it.
Big Stasis Trap did hit the main mineral line, freezing a lot of those workers in position.
Doing another one too.
There, yep. Just trying to keep Dark busy, hitting in as many places at once. 6 more Adepts walking across the map. Dark blocked for a little bit there. Is he going to go? Yeah, drones! It's all drones! He doesn't know there's another wave. This is an all-in attack, but Dark a little bit lax on his scouting. He's sending a Zergling across. He's finally going to realize
Doesn't know.
I think it's going to be too late. 5 Roaches start up, but that is a horde of Adepts knocking on his door.
An extremely well-timed round of drones for Classic is going to open the door for an opportunity to get something done here. He does not want to take big Bane hits. That is the one way this gets completely destroyed. Otherwise, there's plenty of micro potential between the sentries as well as the Adepts that he has. Now he's going to throw the Shade. He wants to bring the sentries up with the Prism to force field the army away, but that opportunity's not going to come in. He's going to push the natural ring. Some of the Banes do splash. He's got a sentry still alive. He picks up the Prism. I'm not sure if there's a completely blocked us up. He could isolate the 3rd base. Of course, Adepts can shade through those force fields, but you want to fight this Zerg army in pieces if you can.
Yeah, these Adepts doing good work. Those force fields being broken though. Roaches and Banelings are eliminating units against the ramp. He's going to crash on down this ramp. A lot of the Banelings do get focused down. Adepts decide to engage front on. They're going to try and overwhelm the Roaches and Queens. Those transfuses from the Queens are massive.
Classic putting everything in on this. 18 Adepts to fight against 8 Roaches and a Ravager trying to add just as much as he possibly can, but the drones and the Banelings are going to get caught trying to make their way down to the natural. He's picking off a good amount of them. Still a little bit of a worker lead. Let's not forget Classic's walled in on 2 bases. Everything he has here is just that. Win everything. And I do not know if the Prism's still alive. He's building another one, but he cannot reinforce.
The Prism going down. I mean, that's such a hard blow to take. Dark there, he broke down. He shut down the bush. 12 work skills.
Hey, Moses, what's up, buddy?
20 workers this entire duration. He is making higher tier units that count the Classics units. He's got Roaches, he's got Banelings. He has stood his ground firmly in this map. And I think Classic here, he's going to try to make something happen. He's going to go into the Disruptor tech. He's going to harass with the depth from multiple angles. But it needs to be a perfect game for Classic. He's got to dig for some big mistakes. Dark here can take victory. He knows it's close.
Hoping to make it work with the Disruptors. The cry of a bald eagle rings upon M. Canning's ears.
Oh, I'm listening to the, is it too loud? I'm listening to the,
with those purification novas to claw this game
fucking,
back. Everything is on the line to try and find
not
some
Stargate.
way to get a foothold as he
Whatever,
slips
the
down this
BlizzCon,
mountain. He's
tournaments.
managed to climb to the top 4, but Dark stands here ready to kick him back off into the
Well, he has got a long road ahead of him. Nathaniel slipping off the mountain.
StarCraft 2, sorry.
I like what he's doing though. Adept here trying to shade across, looking for angles to harass from. Dark's defense.
Damn, this guy wrecked this place, didn't he?
Not really finding anything. Pokes in, pokes out. Good Prism Micro. Of course, this Phoenix spotting the Roach Ravager Baneling army.
My internet's been fucking horrible this evening.
Greetings. May the Loa favor you.
May the Loa bless your dreams. Loa are strong here.
I am listening.
We are going to see the juiciest Disruptor shots since people built them in PvP when Legacy of the Void came out. If Classic wants to find a way to win this match, first Disruptor is going to go forward, launches its Purification Nova, gets a Ravager and a Roach. Those Ravagers, very powerful units, good to grab those. The Banelings don't have speed, so off creep, they're going to be, you can still kind of split versus them, but Adepts don't have stim. Disruptor shot, shoots, and gets nothing.
You've only got one rhythm, and you've got no real firepower in this army. No immortal. You've got next to nothing here. Classic up against the wall, and it is
Our worlds are laced with power. This land will be ours!
Trying to get all my my unit frames all fixed too.
With defense so strong, the Banelings being supported by the Roaches, shutting down the Adept push. He has built an insurmountable advantage for himself. And I mean, even a few good Disruptor shots at this moment, you need more than that. You need some absolute magic to happen. Dark here, once again, crushing through yet another series.
It's been so difficult for Classic. His wall actually with no favors as the Disruptor's Purification Nova has to pass through those buildings.
What are you up to, boss? You just get home from work?
Does have the full duration of that Nova to blow up the Raptors. He's trying to blow up some of the Banelings that are being built in the back line. But as you said, Pig, Dark has looked so unstoppable this WCS run.
Perfect.
Punch it in for the final attack.
Focus, target, targets, target.
Play against Raynor. He's going to try and do some more Disruptor magic. But Dark, just 2 on top, aware of everything that's going on. A couple of your main one or 2 of the Ravagers, but there might just still be 2 left as he starts to engage the front line.
Nice shot, does get a bunch of
Yep.
the units there.
Figured so.
And the Banelings don't even care, they're just going to scream.
Do you want me to
And,
kill?
I mean, it's a heroic defense
Oh, sweet.
here, but this is a truly unfair situation at this point. At about halfway through the play, there is just no way to make this fight work for his advantage. He's going to have to ride after the bitter end. Classic here, of course, with an amazing tournament run so far. He's going to continue to micro and fight as hard as he can. This is such a dream run for Classic so far, but it's not enough.
GG, Dark takes the series 3-0.
Damn.
Going into the meat grinder of
That
that
dude
natural, but
freaking-
when he has
he
that
owned
much
that
weight to
kid.
feed, it will eventually shut down, and he goes on to the grand finals to face off against Ring.
Not necessarily. Looking unstoppable right now.
So I drive some more on Monday. Now I just got to get and start looking for another job.
He immediately just jumps into the counter, shuts it down. Absolutely fantastic play. Honestly,
Now my unit frames are all fixed. They were all over the place.
Struggle for the Protoss going up against Nidus Formosa. We've also seen the meta at this tournament be so centered on those early attacks because it really is
Time for a little blood.
that army composition. Of course, that is not what we are going to be seeing, that same dynamic at least in the grand finals as it will be. So we could have Niduses on both sides, but nothing like what we've seen on the previous matches. Honestly, I think we need to see that Raynor played against Sarah. Pretty excited.
God, look at that fucking crows.
Thank you
Murder of
very,
Crows is
very
just
much,
so much
Nathanius.
DPS.
Raynor is currently sitting in the grand finals awaiting his next opponent, and it will be Dark. So congratulations, Dark. You're back in the grand finals once again. It's been 3 years since you were able to make it this far as Blizzard. So you must mean that much more. Tell us what's going through your mind. 축하드리고요. 3년간의 결승전에 올라간 거랑 기분이 그렇게 어떤지 얘기해
아직 뭐 우승을 한 게 아니기 때문에 딱히 막 기쁘거나 그러진 않고요. 우선 빨리 그 다음 경기를 생각해야 될
He says, honestly, because I haven't become champion yet, I think it's a little early for me to be too happy or anything like that. So right now, all I want to do is focus on that next match. Champion mindset for sure, and you displayed such a dominant victory over Classic. I want to ask specifically about that second map because you lost so many drones.
Somebody has given me another chance.
And yet you were able to come back. Tell
These
us
Korean players, man, I don't know what the deal is. They freaking own StarCraft 2.
한 번 더 뭔가 우린 너치가 왔으면 맞기 힘들었을 텐데 그냥 어차피 좀 불리한 거 한번 대체보자라고 생각했던 게 확실히 의미 있는 것 같아요.
He says, honestly, I think if he had done one more wave and attacked one more time, I actually would have died. But, you know, because he didn't, I just thought to myself, okay, let's just tough this out and see how this game goes. And I think that is the reason why I was able to come back on that second match. And I know you said you're focusing on that next game because you want to be you want to do so, you need to take down 이제 다음 상대는 레이너 선수인데 저저의 자신 있는지요?
뭐
I'm done with you
저저전은
guys, right?
좀
I
제가
don't know how
가장
to do
못한다고
it.
평가받고 있는 중국전 중에 하나인데 준비한 만큼 마지막 이제
He says, honestly, DBZ is the matchup that a lot of people say is my worst matchup, but I know this year I've been working on it a lot. For this last match, I promise to put in everything that I have to ensure that I can become champion. So thank you very much for sharing your thoughts, Dark. Back to you guys.
An absolutely killer grand final set up. We have the Kingslayer in Raynor defeating Serral to threaten his chance, his first full year of WCS eligibility on the
Or 9,
precipice
huh?
of greatness.
Our words are laced with power. This land will be ours.
Special shout out, of course, to Classic.
The prophecy is upon us. This is but a distraction. Azul plays his hand. Storms themselves heed my call.
In the end, I mean, the players are just the entire time. Not there for
Yeah, and as you're saying, everything is on the table. Every last bit of strength, last bit of energy out for this final match to see who is going to be able to take that crown as the world champion. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go to a break. When we return, the grand final of the StarCraft 2 World Championship Series.
BlizzCon 2019 brought
at least got to see the tournament, say, check it out. So, you know, they don't got a PvP tournament anymore for World of Warcraft. They have Mythic Runs tournaments. So basically you and your crew, you know, your 5 people, or 4 people, whatever, try and finish Mythic dungeons before the other team. Oh, that was pretty cool. These dudes were doing Mythic. Oh, I didn't see any. There's no PvP on the list of the tournaments. I'm talking at BlizzCon. I'm not talking in regular. I know they got PvP, but. Yeah, they're sending teams home. I didn't see it on the schedule. I looked, and I saved everything. All I found was the MIDI, and that was the Mythic runs. All right, here we go. Ready? Hit it. Oh, what the fuck? You healing, you piece of shit? Tell me you brought my tools back. Alright, let's see what I got. Get anything? I got nothing. That stank. What am I still trying to do here? Oh, obelisks. Oh, hello. Huh? Yeah? Yeah, they're my fucking tools. That's why. Yes, it is. When it might be something that I have to use to make a living, yes, it is. Okay, what are you mumbling about now? Oh well. Mm-hmm. Oh, here you go. Where are all these obelisks at? Like down here? Oh, there's always fucking me. I don't think they turn on me when I do this.
Time for a little blood.
Gamer Gaming, that's right, Dark is able to move in to the grand finals here with a 3-0 win. And obviously on the other side of things,
I don't remember the crack on Razor Ring.
Dragon Phoenix game. Get used to the title, because Dark is a monster, and that team is not going to drop a kid that good.
No, I suppose not. Guaranteeing himself $96,000 going into the grand final, of course, and both of these players going to be battling for that $210,000 title of world champion. Rotterdam watching that final series as well there. Dark being able to do very well for himself, even though Classic put up a little bit of a fight.
Yeah, I thought game 1 and 2 were very exciting, actually. I mean, game 1 obviously didn't start off very well. We're going to take a look at that bracket while you're asking me about it, but I love the double Stargate Phoenix, even though he was behind, but the fact that he was so far behind and he made a game out of it, it's like, yeah, that was a good build. Game 2, I really felt like he had it. I felt there were multiple ways to win that game.
Yeah.
Yes, the Nidus Stormhost is good, but making a million Stalkers is like, I don't know, I'm just not a fan.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, when you look at that previous series, the final one, it feels like for someone like Dark, it's been about time that he gets to a final like this. But before we get to that, of course, Cyril versus Reina here, Pig. Tell me about the series.
Oh, I mean,
Uh-oh.
it's been
Internet's about to drop.
for Raynor so far in this tournament. Every single little bit of the way, it's been hard for 3-2 victories where he has barely inched it out. And I mean, this was so back and forth. The force fields, the Zerg force fields, man. I mean, this was just madness. At this point, Raynor said it in his interview, he said, Sarah was kind of all over me in this game. I was struggling, but I knew if I could just hang on, those Mutalisks, those Banelings would not be valuable in the late game. And boy, did we see it. He crushed these engagements.
Cyril taking social media at the end of this, saying he wasn't really feeling it in this last game rather than...
I mean, like, I think he went more like that he didn't feel like sticking around.
Oh shit, look at us go.
That's what he meant. I think he was playing fantastic, actually, in this game 5.
Sure.
I think he was ahead. I think at this one point he had to make his transitions a bit quicker. Certain Zergs will say you can transition into, like, lurkers if you don't with that many meters.
Oh, we gotta do this thing.
Bought all the time for himself. What I just think is most special about the best of 5 is that, yes, Raynor won,
WCS,
but
is
this
that
time there
is
wasn't
that
an
the
asterisk
I
victory.
don't
He had
think
a
that's
horrible game 1 that one almost didn't even count.
No,
It was
that's
over before it began,
StarCraft.
and he was super far behind, in my opinion, in game 5, and he won that. I mean, that's as amazing as
The
victory
blood
as they
trolls
come.
are
This time there
scattered,
is
but
no
we must
cheeky
find the
bullshit.
source of the rot and
He
destroy
fought
it.
together.
Guard yourselves. Who knows what lurks in his claws?
Public had some questionable cannon.
Yeah, I mean, his cannon rush, very expensive. He got 3 drones, some wings out of it. A bit weird, but like Roy mentioned, this double Stargate, or even a triple at one point, Stargate Phoenix build with the upgrades, kept him alive in that game, but it was kind of like on last board and speaking of this strategy.
Why would you do that, dude? Did I just run with this fucking idiot?
Undefeated strategy so far in this
I think I ran with this idiot.
You know, on top of the community's mind, and damn, it looks so good and so frustrating and hard to deal with.
An attempt to be a Death Glaive here, Pig to finish things off, and then he had a hedge maze at the front of his base, trying to get that weaved in and out.
He played a lot of Warcraft 3 customs when he was very good. Honestly, it was just one of those games where when that adept pressure didn't quite come together as quickly as he needed it to, and the Roaches getting out shuts that down. I mean, Roaches are good versus Adepts. You add Banelings, and it's like, I mean, you're trying to spread Adepts versus Banelings, but you want to be focus firing the Roaches. That's an unwinnable fight. So I really...
AWC, is that what it is? Lower round. AWC, I don't even know what that is.
Prison didn't get across the map. I mean, but Dark, just solid as a rock.
Yeah, that final game, that's just an all-in, right? That's the definition of an all-in. The full wall off, that's sealed.
That must be it.
Like, I'm all-inning. And then every second manage, you gotta hit as quickly as possible. The longer you wait, the more roaches.
Uh-oh. What do you mean? Did you know that Blizzard fucked the community for the WoW BlizzCon prize pool? I did not even know that there was a prize pool.
Let's talk about it. The grand final here for
These guys
WCS
doing
Global
just
Finals
mythics are fucking getting $200,000. I mean, really?
Going up against South Korea.
So explain it to me. What's going on there? Okay. My pet is out of range. Did my pet die? I actually got 2 pieces.
A little bit of a tough time against foreigners lately, and as far as like playing against foreign Zergs. So in the last couple times, he went down to a laser.
Well, they apologized, quote unquote. The head guy apologized, kinda, for the whole Hong Kong thing.
You know, foreigners not being any good,
A couple of times he did. It did not go well for him. Rotterdam, what are your thoughts going into the grand final?
Oh, okay, hold on. I will. After I get done with this run, I'll read that. Very interesting to hear about this. Blizzard accused the lying about the World Cup highest score of the BlizzCon.
Definitely, we're going to see 9. South Korea regains the title of becoming the true world champion. All we see is quality, Reina,
Wow, these. Okay, so the expansion's been announced, right? The pubs in this. I'll have to tell my buddy Jason that. I think I ran with this dickhead before. He paid $500 for his ticket.
What manner of creature is this?
Harpies!
It must not be allowed to reach the surface. Destroy it, now! have never seen this form of corruption
Welcome to the
before.
grand finals of WCS.
If this spreads to the
A Zerg for
surface,
Zerg is about
we will
to
not
happen.
be able to
Korea
contain it.
unable to hit this ball.
Already been to a BlizzCon Grand Finals. He's just been dying to be the best Zerg in the world for so long, but it's been taken from him by Rogue, by Serral. Is it going to be taken again by our youngest player, Rainer?
Now last year, we saw Serral was not so strong, we were essentially unable to StarCraft. Serral faced that. Now we have the same scenario with different players. We saw if we're going to move this
Most on fire today. Maru, the greatest player. 3-0 against Classic, the most successful pro us of the last few years. He looks unstoppable.
it's incredible. With
That
Rainer
sucks,
coming into
dude.
this and playing so much
Ever since Activision took them over years ago, they just been going downhill.
I have ever seen.
Underneath right now, the greatest that we've had.
Never really seen before. I mean, ultimately, this is the best StarCraft player.
And watching that match that Rainer had against Serral, it was just
Virulent specimen detected.
What are you up to? What are you playing, man?
championship in his first fully competitive year.
It is time to start our finals. Let's bring out our two players.
Anaheim! This is the moment that we have been waiting for. After an entire year of triumphs and defeats from all of these players, it all comes down to this one match. This beautiful trophy and cement themselves in the Hall of Honor. So yes, all of you here today, are you ready?
Contingent detected. Sanitize.
Finalists Dark and
Infected. Contingent detected. Sanitize. Contingent detected. Sanitize. Cleansing area. Contingent detected. Sanitize. Contingent detected. Sanitize. Engaging final safety.
Nice.
Destroy virulent source.
Damn, 2 pieces, baby. 2 pieces.
Of their competitors, you know,
The
Serral
Titan
won
bought us
so many
time,
tournaments
but
compared to
Gahul
Rainer,
will
who
not
finally
stay
did knock him
contained
out
for
here
long.
tonight. Same goes for
All right.
Dark, really. He's been a top Zerg in Korea for the past 4 years.
Let's read this.
But hasn't quite gotten there yet, winning very few tournaments for his skill level.
If a non-Korean wins here again tonight, it only further solidify Korea's
Blizzard accused of
grip,
lying about
or
World of
lack grip, I
Warcraft
should
prize
say,
pools at
over the
BlizzCon.
entire world here. Dark
Tens of players are
has
accusing
so much
Blizzard of
pressure
lying
on
about their
him right
investment
now.
in the
When
BlizzCon
Serral
prize pool
won
for
last
World of
year,
Warcraft Arena
the
World
Korean message
Championships.
boards blew up.
The AWC, that's it, okay. And the Mythic Dungeon International MDI. In post,
This is the guy
in a
that you
post
want
back in March, Blizzard announced they would be selling 2 new toys in the Blizzard shop and in-game shop in order to support the prize pool for AWC and MDI.
Dominated WCS Korea this year. He was number 1 in the point
Limited
standings by a good
time,
margin.
blah blah blah.
The Zerg for Zerg style
Post
of
by
Korean
manufacturers, you consider 500,000 on top of whatever the 25% cut from the toys would be. In fact, back in June, Massively Op reported both esports and would both be even large. Oh
in
shit.
the early game, the
How
Europeans
about if
seem to
I
want to
get the
stretch
fuck
the game
away
out.
from
They
here?
want to try to tech up. And so far, it's been proven that the Europeans have had more success, especially in this year, in a little bit.
Blah blah blah.
Yeah, it's definitely
The post
true. The
that's
Korean Zergs like to play that mid game a little bit more, maybe more
after the
lanes.
proceeds from the toys are have been announced because of your direct support, the combined prize pool for Drow Esports at BlizzCon would be $660,000.
he going
each of
to
our two
attack
WoW esports
Raynor
programs,
relentlessly
World
on his
Warcraft
layer
Arena
two?
World
And of course, if
Championship,
he
and
does
Mythic
attack
Dungeon
Raynor
International Global Finals,
relentlessly,
a
will
prize
that be
pool
an
of
overextension? Will that allow
330,000
him,
up for
in this
grabs.
case, Raynor to just
Thank you
close
for
it out
making
if he
this
can
largest
actually
prize.
have that proper defense?
Well,
This
they
is the
said
big
200,000 today.
That's kind of a funny thing that you say, because I feel like Raynor's style, while it is quite European, it's a little bit different. He's always felt like he's the challenger against Cyril, that Cyril is the ultimate
Win.
defender,
He plays
and it's
for
Raynor that has
5'9".
to crack him.
Let's
So I
see,
feel
however,
like
the
he's a bit
suspicious
more aggressive than
suspicion
some of
was
the
of
other
something
European
using the
Zergs,
sales
even
from the
Zerg
toys
Berserk, which I think is going
for
to make
the
this a
prize
very
pool seemingly
interesting matchup.
confirmed professional
Let's also
player.
remember the history of
Snuts
Dark was a few years ago. I can't remember
responded to a
which, but,
tweet from
they did a
popular
great
streamer
signature series video
Asmon
with
Gold,
Dark
who
where they
originally
talked
called
to him
for
about what
a
his
wait and
personal
see approach and
ambitions were
suggest
as a
people not
StarCraft
jump to
player. And he
conclusions.
said that it wasn't just being good in StarCraft was enough. He wanted to be the best. He wanted his name himself to be synonymous with StarCraft. This is his moment to do that.
Yeah, it really is. He needs a world championship for that. He did finally win a GSL Code S this year, something that's been eluding him again for 4 to 5 years, where he has been a top Zerg, but hasn't been able to finish that out. Now, can he win BlizzCon? In 2016, he was in the finals. Beyond, of course, took him out. A very close, very well-played finals, but I feel like Dark has ascended to the next level.
Wow.
He has. He's been playing excellently. He's had a few flubs, a few snafus he's got himself into where he doesn't quite close it out. But that's been true for Cyril as well. We've got Raynor in this position now. It's very tough to call. I do think it is fair to say, though, that the European ZDZ style, it appears to be superior.
Yeah, that might be true, but Dark has seen a lot of this, right? He gets to watch it. He's played against it a lot. Of course, it's knocked him down quite a few times, but that just gives you more experience. You know, he's going to come at this with fresh eyes. He saw how
Wow.
played to beat Cyril.
Yeah, they fucked
So I
up
feel
in
like Dark
multiple
has a
ways
plan
now.
going into this series.
And he better have a very good one with a lot of different options here, because this is a best of 7, and we've had so much ZDZ lately here in StarCraft 2 that this is possible.
I honestly don't think it's Blizzard, quote unquote, the developer Blizzard's fault. I think it's Activision just being money pigs is what they're doing. And they didn't want to give up that money.
The early parts of the series is going to come down to who can surprise who with what. ZDZ does allow for a lot of deception, allows for a lot of very quick attacks, but at the same time, every game that passes, that's a little bit more information
That's amazing.
about your opponent, and that allows you to react and respond and change how you're approaching the game, so maybe you can overcome the mistakes you made early on.
And don't forget, this isn't a best of 5. This is a best of 7. So
Yeah.
you can't just win 3 games and go forward. We might end up
If
playing
that's
every
true,
single
I mean, they
match.
haven't made a statement on it yet, so
These guys have
I don't
shown
know.
everything they have.
I don't want to jump to conclusions either. That's two players. I mean,
I think it's a fair bet.
I don't even
Going
trust
into this
Snuts'
Rainer's
little
story
thing.
is totally fascinating. This guy was so young.
But if they did
wasn't
that,
even
that's
allowed to
straight.
And
And like I
so
said, I don't think
we
that's
heard rumors
Blizzard
on the internet
doing
about how
that.
great
I
this
think
player
that's
was, and of course, you
Activision
never
doing
have
that.
somebody this young in a game that's,
Because
this
they're
old StarCraft
they're
team,
money
oldest
grubbers.
franchise in esports.
Anything to save a dime. You know what I'm saying? Get the game out quickly.
Who have basically spent their entire lives playing. He shows up on the scene. He's dominating. He's crushing. He's here in the World Finals. He may be crowned the best player in the world.
Yeah, really, don't forget, last year, until he turned 16, so he missed events, and then only BlizzCon 5 one map victory. If he had won one last match, he would have already had BlizzCon experience. This year, of course, right beside Cyril. He has really done a fantastic job, and seeing him rip through this bracket is nothing short of impressive. This is the greatest
And it's also a very fascinating narrative on both sides. It's really the young versus the old. Dark is such a veteran of StarCraft 2 and StarCraft 1 as well. So young, so fresh.
This fucking thing isn't even, I don't think it's hitting anybody. I'm not taking any damage.
A little bit of data
That was interesting.
on how the other player tends to play in this matchup. This is one thing about going through a bracket. There's just things off on Acropolis, then Thunderbird, Winterscape, Disco Bloodbath, Triton, World of Sleep, Map 7, Samurai.
God, I do hope we get to that.
Yeah, that's
It's time to start our match. Let's
wow.
make some
I just
Give it up.
yeah, 250. Those kids are getting $250,000 for running a dungeon.
And his
Really?
opponent here in the bottom right in
Really?
the blue from Italy. Give it up for Rainer.
You know? Come on, Mobile, you gotta get good, make $250,000 in a year just running some mythics. It's gotta be faster than the other team.
Will they just give each other a nod and take their expansions and go up to third bases and make the defensive phase?
And these guys are pulling half the dungeon, too.
Such an important series.
It's hard to say exactly how you want to try to approach this because there are a couple builds you can do in Zerg versus Zerg where you could try to just snag a win, pull the rug out from under them. But it seems like those are having less and less success.
Right?
Almost like you can get a good read on your opponent.
No, I'll guide you.
We'll have
Okay,
to
what
see.
is...
Generally speaking, ZVZ, we just follow the production tab. We want to wait and see, okay, what deviation in the build are they going to try to do? But I imagine that this could be a pretty long ZVZ, just game by game.
Did I totally miss you?
Yeah, I think it's going to be very hard for these two to knock each other out right off the bat. They're both very good at scouting, figuring out what's going on. Of course, their defense is fantastic. I mean, this is the World Championship. The best of the best going at it.
So I had the chance to talk to Rainer very briefly backstage, and I was asking him.
I think
first
these
of all,
guys were running with,
are you going to be able to hold it? He said he actually expects.
they were running with a Demon Hunter tank? That's, I couldn't quite watch them. I don't watch some stuff.
Dark also, although he's known for having excellent. Some of the games in a best of seven, more so than other Zerg players.
Yeah, that is
I
certainly.
mean, it's insane, dude. $250,000 for running a mythic.
Like 12 pools. In fact, sometimes even half-jokingly saying it's one of the best builds out there, and that is a very quick, the quickest Zergling Rush they would have. Now, will we see that against Rainer? Gosh, I would be really surprised if he pulls something like that out.
Really? Really? Well, you just take a little bit of this.
For Rainer, is he going to go for more than that? 12. This is some pressure, but it's not something over. Not something you expect to.
Just a little structural position we have over here. Making the proper wall-ins at the entrances of these bases is very important because you want to get all you need is one zone to slip through to get a scout off and identify what the and then of course
Stay alive, boys. Stay alive. You're good. You're good.
Good enough position to drive those demons away. Rainer will probably have to back up. Now, it's plenty of the production back. As those units are sent out, there really is a balancing act in Zerg versus Zerg with drone production versus worker production. Working still, like we almost saw right there, is huge because it's still a worker. They have to remake that worker. If they remake that worker because it comes from Larva.
You got it, brother.
Source for all the units in the game besides the Queen. Then you're using those units to remake workers and not attacking units. Same with the other way around if you're denying them attacking units.
Looks like a little bit of pressure coming out from Dark here as well. Not really going to get too much done.
Kneel before your new masters. Dispose of them. Our work is nearly complete.
And so we start
You will be broken by our understand what lies beneath.
That
Well,
could mean that we'll
better
see
queue
a
for another dungeon,
Yeah,
right?
very different approach. Getting melee attack versus getting domestic attack.
Time is
plays
money,
into
friend!
Roaches, it plays into Hydralisk. Whereas if you're getting the melee attack,
Right back!
Zerglings, and as you were saying, Artosis, that compare well with the Mutalisk play.
Well, he's thrown down the Spire, so Dark is going for a 3-base Spire build. He's actually making a few Roaches as well, so this is a very kind of sneaky play from Dark. If you see that your opponent has taken the 3 bases without any fear and some Roaches start popping up, is on the way next.
From earlier in this game. And you're absolutely right. When you go for a Muta-style play like this, by the way, he does spot the Spire here now, which is very important. But with the Mutalisk play, because Mutas are so mobile, you're able to take a lot of fights on the map. You can wipe out all the Overlords, darkening the positional
There we
positions they
go.
have to scout you. And of course, you can always dive in on
245 over 232. 245 over
Of course, as soon as he
224.
got scouted, we saw Dark go
like
ahead and throw
that.
down a couple spine crawlers. It's busy right now while the Mutas are building. Now over on Rainer's side, just a Hydralisk fan. It doesn't look like he wants to get overly aggressive. Just
I had hoped for a greater challenge. Zul'Thuzar is ours by birthright. Surrender, and I may grant you a mercy. I am the Thunder's might, the terror of the steppes. I, Zul, promised a new empire, and we will have it. No matter. Your king's end.
on his range attack, getting Hydralisks and getting that Lurker tech.
I envy you, witnessing the birth of a new Troy empire firsthand. A petty Rastakhan will not experience the same pleasure.
Certainly not enough in a game like this. The
Speak
Muta continues to
and
grow,
the
the
lower
lead
listen.
continues to grow. It's important that we see Dark do some damage with this, because Raynor wants to sit back and again try to drag this out European Zerg Berserk style into a longer tech-based game.
Yeah, and you know, we saw him play this type of style against Serral when Serral went for the Mutalisks and Lings and the Banelings. Can Dark do a better job? You know he was watching that series, so he must think yes.
And Raynor has really shown that he has some of the best defense we've
No.
ever seen in Zerg Berserk. So
Habuto.
very patient. He knows how to set up a very technical end game where he can finally get a closer off here. But for now, the Mutas are continuing to come out in huge numbers. And he needs to do
Really gotta
something
go out and
fast.
see
And that's
that.
probably why
I
we're
gotta
seeing
go out and
Banelings
see
being
that.
more pure. He wants to have some kind of attack very soon.
You might be able to get some damage done. Some good placements here from Raynor, though. He's got the Roaches kind of clogged in any areas those Banelings will want to roll
Nope,
in.
gotta go
This
down.
is a lot of units from Dark. Dark looks like he's getting ready for the attack, and here we go. Getting in on top of the Queens immediately.
Immediately they dive in now. The Banelings heading south over here, taking out some of those Hydras. So many Mutas, I'm not sure if Raynor has enough anti-air.
Oh my gosh, these Mutas doing a huge job here, taking out a lot
What
of units.
brings
More
you
bases
to me?
rolling here towards that fourth base of Raynor. The drones trying to get out, but they are so clumped up and a huge amount of damage
my
done by these
heirloom.
Banes.
This is really bad for Raynor. He's already suffered a lot of losses. The drones are executed over there, and now the Mutas dive in. More drones escaping over here towards the natural, but the third and the fourth base here are in shambles. On the other side of the map, though, Raynor in a counterattack.
Yeah, Raynor trying to get some damage done himself, hitting
What
this
level
fourth
is
base.
that
It looks
thing?
like he could take it
thought
out,
that was
but
good
with
for
the Lings and
120.
Mutas over here defending, I don't know that he's going to get much more done.
You can see the Mutas are able to hit the Roaches, but not quickly enough, so all of them have to come back. They will be taking on the Roaches. The hatch
Stats on
does
it
go down,
stink.
and these Roaches will certainly not be able to get back home. They're going to be cleaned up. Right now, the worker count, a lead here for Dark, 74
Yeah, it
to
does.
61.
Oh, man, I don't want to
Yeah, I
grind
mean,
out the
he's
last
looking
4
pretty strong
levels.
Still, even though he lost a
That
base,
kinda
right now it is
sucks.
4 bases against
I really
4
could
bases.
use that.
But as we have lurkers joining the game, it's going to be harder and
Get some
harder
grinding
to
out the
damage
last
done
4
with
levels
Zerglings and
then.
Banelings, which is a huge part of Dark's army.
That's a good point. Dark wants to dive in again. Note the superior army count here from Dark. These Banelings, the explosive damage is so huge. If you can get in there and hit this, Raynor may be knocked out of orbit of getting into this game. at all. The Banelings are going to come in here now.
Without
he needs to
honor,
hold on. The
we
Banelings are
have
coming forward,
nothing.
trying to connect with the Hydras. If they hit their target, the Mutas might be too strong.
Oh, some huge hits right there, and now he's going to chase down these Vipers. A huge pickoff from Dark. Those Vipers, such a strong counter to the Mutas. Now the Mutas flying out, killing every queen in their path. The mobility of Dark is overwhelming.
And it seems like Dark is not going to let up. This fourth base, there's no longer enough defense to take on both the Zerglings and the Mutas. The Hydras are going to come down, but
Go
both
kill.
Banelings are being morphed in. And if Raynor can't stop this attack now, we will be going into game 2 very soon.
Oh, the Banelings connecting on those Hydras as well, and GG is called. Dark takes down game number 1.
Masterfully done there by Dark, asserting the Korean ZVZ style with such grace and such perfect execution, showing why in Korean Zerg vs. Zerg you're able to get in there in a very surgical manner.
I got
Raynor
what you
had big
need.
plans in that game, and he was never able to realize them because Dark's aggression and the way he attacked and was so strong. Raynor was unable to do that.
That was really beautifully done by Dark. To get the Baneling speed at such a time and just roll in, start dealing the damage. He kept Raynor on the back foot for a very long time, and Raynor was never really able to stabilize. He was taking damage from then on.
And I wonder if Raynor will be able to make the adjustment if Dark does that again. I mean, we certainly these guys play possibly up to 7 games in a finals because StarCraft is a game about learning and adjusting and also hiding information. And so whatever mistakes Raynor made, and it's too complex for, I think you or I to really dissect too heavily, whatever mistakes he made there, if he could make the proper adjustments, Dark might not be able to make that attack work the next time. But of course, Dark doesn't have to do that attack the next time. He can do something entirely different.
But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if he mixes this strategy in several times tonight. When you look at the series that Raynor just played against Serral, well, Raynor took a lot of damage early on, but I think Dark looked at that and said, you know what, I can do better than Serral with this, and just a little bit more damage, and Serral could have won that 5th game.
I gotta say, I'm a little bit surprised that that attack from Dark actually worked as well as it did. Not because I don't think Dark is as strong in aggression. He's one of the best of all time in Zerg in general with aggression, but Raynor's looked so good at holding off everything in ZVZ and showing how elastic Zerg defense can be that the fact that Dark came in there and did that so basically perfectly is pretty scary.
Yeah, I mean, it is a fearful thing, but Raynor is not someone who's going to get down on himself after a single loss in a best of 7. I'm sure he's going to buckle down, bring with him a new way to look at that strategic matchup and fixes for it in the next game.
We're in a situation where it really is 2 different styles from 2 different continents. Again, the Zergs in Korea tend to dive in and attack and have a lot of explosivity, they tend to win with very good Baneling connects, very quick counterplays, very different from the Europeans, which tend to focus much more on macroing up, on taking a lot of bases, about turning the map into a chessboard, and ultimately trying to outmaneuver the opponent's army. But look, if you're really good at this aggressive style that Dark's doing, you can avoid the entire game plan that the Europeans.
It's like I need to go down and put some stuff in the auction house.
Taking control of the game. He
For
doesn't
real?
sit back. He doesn't want lurkers. He doesn't want lurkers. I promise you this. He really rarely uses them in Zerg or Zerg in Korea. Rogue is probably the only Korean Zerg that likes that style.
Yeah.
So I think that Dark is going to keep that pressure on, whether it's early Baneling attacks, early Roach attacks, maybe Nidus play. We've seen some crazy strats out of Dark in the past, even Swarm hosts in this matchup.
Now that being said, it's also a completely and totally a realistic option that Raynor might be really aggressive. He might turn the game on its head and attack into Dark, which is definitely an option. I'm thinking it is less likely in this series just Raynor play, but Raynor
210,000, 96,000 for second, man. I'll take that
Raynor
also.
opens up with a very, very quick in-his-face rush.
It could be, but do you really trust yourself to do
break
that
it,
here
you
on
buy
this
it.
big stage? Let's not forget, not only are you playing for the World Championship, which is pretty much the greatest thing in the world. If you're the StarCraft World Champion, you're the best video game player in the world. But there's also a big prize differential. First place is $114,000 more.
Yes, and we are now
No, it just said. Oh, it just said 200,000. They don't even get their fucking numbers right.
All right. Well, this is a very big map, and it's one that we've seen some crazy strategies on. Obviously, Mutalisk play can be pretty popular here, and we've also seen Dark do some very strange Swarmhost Nidus builds on this map. I'd love to see if he tries it this time.
All right, everybody, let's get loud here. In the upper left, from South Korea, in the red, he is Dark. And his opponent here in the bottom right, from Italy, in the blue, give it up for Raynor. Does seem like there's a favorite in here, Artosis.
Well, whoever wins, I'm going to be pretty happy at the end of it, I got to tell you. Both these guys quite deserving. They've been working on their skill for quite a while. Now, Thunderbird, this is a really big map. And a map where it's extremely easy to take 3 bases and defend against frontal attacks. That should play hugely into the strategies they choose. You know, a lot of times you're going to want to go Nidus here, maybe a more defensive play because it is so easy to defend. Mutalisks are very popular as well.
Hey, can I interest you in a payment plan?
We've also seen a lot of very technical stuff here with Nidus networks on this map as well. So that's something we want to watch for here.
Welcome back, sir. Yeah, they can't even get these announcers don't even know the. They just pasted on the screen that first place is $210,000 for StarCraft, right?
Yeah, for about a
96,000 for second, but they just said it was 174,000 for first. So they can't.
You know, Dark,
yeah.
He has shown us, even in this past season, GSL Code S, some really great strats with the even in Zerker serve.
Yeah, queue times have gone down because of all the people coming back leveling now.
But right now, very similar builds from the two players.
Yeah, we're basically waiting for some deviation here. It is the balancing act of drones versus any kind of attacking units. And you know, if you're going to make those attacking units early on, as we've said in Zerker Circs in the past, well, then you're not making workers, and so you're not going to be in a healthy position economically if the game goes on for a long time. Generally speaking, things tend to be a little bit slow here. We'll know if it's going to pick up if we see a big explosion of lanes in the production tab. The other things we want to watch for, of course, is how quickly will they take their thirds. In this case, it looks like they're both going to be taking them very fast. We do have other ways to play the game, for instance, people powering on 2 bases. And then the different techs that you can take. Are you going to go for roaches? Are you going to do a quick ling with speed and baneling attack there? Or are you going to go for mutas? There's a lot of different ways to approach the matchup.
Yeah, but you know, this is a map where you tend to get a little bit more greedy, right? You do just have that single ramp leading up to your
Speak your business.
So the Zergling baneling attacks
Speak your
definitely aren't
business.
as powerful. We'll keep a close eye on how many Zerglings are being made here. But not too many as of yet. Of course, they are both making the baneling nest, oftentimes for defense, just in case your opponent really wants to go ham on it.
And a little back and forth here. When we see the Baneling's Nest, it can have many different functions. A Baneling's Nest is basically mandatory in this matchup. So when you see it being made, it doesn't mean we're going to have a Baneling attack. The Banelings are excellent units to defend against Speedlings that might try to run by here as well. And as we mentioned in the earlier game, in Game 1, these bottlenecks that the players attempt to create, by the way, great Link Scout here. Not that there's anything too specific importance, but sometimes seeing that there's nothing there is also incredibly helpful because you know you don't have to worry about certain things. But to what I was saying earlier, creating these tight bottlenecks on the map, it's very important in Zerg versus Zerg because you want to be able to control the possibility of counterattacks diving into certain locations and taking out your workers.
Look at that, the Zergling makes it all the way out, does a complete tour of the base, sees that there is no tech, none at all, not a Roach Warrior, not a Lair, not anything. And Dark, of course, as the Zergling leaves, does start his play down his Evolution Chamber as well.
We're following the same themes that we had in Game 1. Right now, it's Raynor investing in missile attack here, so that's great for Roaches and Hydras, whereas we have the Lair coming along for Dark. Now, the Lair can mean many things. We also have a Roach Warren as well here for Dark.
This is looking, though, as he throws down more gases, like it very well may be another Mutalisk play. And Dark just stays on that style. I mean, is Raynor going to fix what went wrong in Game 1?
I guess if it's not broken, don't fix it. Why not try the same thing that happened in the previous game, which is Okay, very nice. Does he actually get in? Again, another scout here by Raynor. That's pretty huge. Because again, he's going to get more and more intel on what direction Dark wants to take this game. And it's not actually that common at the highest level to see the same strategy used 2 times in a row, which is why this might be very smart. Because it seems like such a basic way to approach the game that there's a possibility Raynor would dismiss this as an option coming here from Dark.
Well, it would be good for him if he does dismiss it as an option, because it's not happening this game. Just the Roach upgrade coming now, Roach speed as well as the +1 attack. Overlord speed on both sides as well. And really looking at this game, it feels a lot better for Raynor right now. He didn't skimp on drones, he's got that much higher drone count at the moment, and he started his upgrades earlier. So it seems like Raynor does have that advantage in the mirror builds.
Yeah, and if we're going to have a situation like that, I think Raynor's going to be very
I've seen you around here before. Keep your ear to the ground. Keep it real. See you around, friend.
Oh, that's right. Now I gotta go back to the fucking 8th area. Yeah, I don't get this. This is... Yeah. So I just did quests over in this monkey area. Now I gotta go back and do more quests there. It's kind of a backwards ass way of doing shit. Sweet.
I don't know if that's because of the Link Scouts that came in that we saw.
I like this. I like this run.
Didn't allow Dark to keep very many secrets, but I am very curious to see how Dark is going to handle Raynor with this is Raynor's big strength.
Yeah, well, he's making an infestation pit, and we don't see a lot of times when you open up with the roaches,
The mother load.
you go into a Hydralisk next. So I think what we're going to see is the Swarm Host Nidus that he's shown us before on this map.
And we see that Nidus being made now here. Now on this map, if we're going to
Why is
have
that so
Raynor get
fucking
Nidus here,
big?
the 6 o'clock position is a very popular one to try to Nidus in that location.
Come on, let's go.
We're getting a shot of that right now. You can pelt the hatchery across the little mineral patch divide here. And there's not a lot you can do, and as you guys have probably already seen if you've been following this tournament, the damage that the Locusts do when they come out of the Swarm Host is pretty profound.
Yeah, it really is, and it's hard to get over there to actually counter it. Now look at this. Oh, he does see that Nidus now. He's the infestation pit, so he's going to have a very good idea what's going on. These Swarm Hosts are going to be coming. Now, how does Raynor counter this?
So he knows it's coming, but it's actually a very small window of time to respond whatsoever. The Nidus pops
Why?
out. The target
Why
will
did you
most
do
likely be
that?
the hatchery. So while Dark's going for this harass, we see the Raynor is the battery ram not any more growth for Dark on the map.
Just save some of those looks like another is going up right now. Raynor is in position to deny this. Just coming up. So looks like he's going to be able to stop this.
So one of the strengths of the Nidus play is that the Nidus is pretty cheap, and even if it gets denied entirely, it's not a major blow to the player that's teching into the Nidus. And this allows you, if you're the player that's going for the Nidus against your opponent, it allows you to basically control where their movement is. And so far, it's been pretty effective this time around.
Dark is keen to it and throws down the Biles, forces the Unburrow, and now will back up.
Okay, Raynor on the move right now. He's going to chase this army up onto the rim. Dark has no time. He's very careful with his time because he's a
Wow, another horrible pug.
set up in that position. Because the lurkers can pop out so fast, and when you get the upgrades burrow so fast, suddenly you have a spot where you might not be able to attack into, which is very strong. But in the meanwhile, oh my gosh, great attack over here. Things happening so quickly. That base completely destroyed. But again, Raynor comes in here with his
Let's go.
to deny Dark's base for a third time.
Does get denied, but Dark is not dying by any means. And now it's lurkers all the way. He's got to have a lot more options. Still doing all this, harassing Raynor, killing off that natural hatchery was a big
Venture Company thanks you for your patronage. Please enjoy your purchase of the basic pummeling package.
This one won't be lost either.
The remaining structures are being picked off as Raynor appears to just be falling apart.
Come on.
He has a small army and absolutely no position to utilize it at all.
Systems engaged. Commence pummeling lethal force authorized. Voltage increase.
Dark is coming in from all sides. Yet another hatchery. The Locust.
Damaging this unit violates the terms of use.
At this point in time, I think Raynor is processing the loss, trying to digest.
Lethal force authorized.
Going into game
voltage increase.
Finishing off the last two blows to kill Raynor off here.
Raynor, maybe this is the time for him to go through a final likely to scout.
With Dark having the Swarm host in the game, it can be hard to have a full-on direct engagement because the Swarm hosts are basically tools that you use to try to hit different harassment. And so we might need to see him, I don't know. Up 3-0, it almost never happens, ever in StarCraft 2 where somebody comes back before when it's going to be the most important game for everything in this more and more and more on Raynor. The last half. There's almost no more structure.
I think there's some gases in the main base. He's just kind of hiding buildings at this point to try to stay alive. GG. Hoping for, that's for sure. You do not, as you said, want to go down 0-3 if your opponent's on match point.
We're going to a quick break. When we come back, Game 3 of the finals here in WCS. Do not go away.
This 2019 is brought to you by T-Mobile. The newest signal goes farther than ever, and it's built 5G ready. MSI, True Gaming.
You trespass in my domain! blood of Azeroth flows through you! The ground will consume you!
Championship Series Global Finals. Korea is halfway towards capturing the crown again. Last year, Serral did a massive upset. Won for the first time in StarCraft history. Korea was finally outdone. Now Dark is here. A different opponent. Italian young prodigy.
It's taking way too long.
Still has time. He still has opportunities here to adjust his play to come with different strategies and maybe come back with a win.
It's a best of 7, so it is definitely possible. I also really want to point out that even though it seems like it might be one-sided right now, both of these have been kind of strategic victories in a lot of ways. Dark. I've seen Dark now do that specific strategy over many times. No one knows how to play against it yet, but it's only very true. Very bad. So it's all in. This is an all in.
Why would you do that? Why?
Does he cancel the hatchery or not? Does he try to defend just his main? Every unit counts. Every unit is important. It's all being solved in a matter of moments here. Try to stop this. The Lings are coming out here. 3 spines are here. The Queen is now doing damage. The spines of Raynor are moving down here. He may be able to defend this.
Yeah, maybe he can end up holding on. It looks like more Lings coming in from Dark. He's killing a lot of drones right now. But a a lot more games. So there's 4 games.
If you
forward.
want a job done right, you mega explosive! Looking for Lazarus? I'm a baseball!
Tripping over myself here. I'm so excited. So, no quick pool.
No. I think we might be done with the quick pulls for this series.
I think so.
That could be the last one.
Instead, this time around, it's going to be 2 hatches. Probably more of a macro team. It's funny that we saw Dark do that.
You and this fucker. Alright. Well, tank is a hunter. No problem. Such a great tank. hear what I said earlier, Muzzle? Now that they announced the new expansion, you get all these freaking idiots back in here, and all the pugs go to hell.
damage you've done? Killed off. Yeah, just 3 drones killed so far. Gonna send him back to that third base. Raynor still up as far as workers go. Darko continuing to produce Zerglings. He wants to keep that
Right
pressure
where
on.
you belong. Under my heel.
While we have these attacks, there's also scouting as well. What exactly? Need a little bit of regular allowance to look out what exactly.
Take the high caliber time.
Very strong play we've seen from Dark with
Get a load of 300 rounds per minute. What am I paying you fools for? Get out here and fix this.
The overseer is going to comb through the position that we have, trying to identify exactly what's going on. There's 9 mutalisks on the way.
You'll pay for that.
We'll have to first and foremost defend these 9 mutants that are going to come barreling towards us.
This is going to be a really exciting game.
Pulverize! Ah, my insurance premium!
Against Mutalisks. Is that in the cards here tonight?
I hope so. I would love to see that.
Take some high caliber time!
So the mutant count is getting pretty intimidating. It's hard to race up and match the mutalisks here on Raynor's side. I think we already have, I'm actually not sure what the numbers, I think it was 16 or something like that. 14. And it's
Hopefully these are posted. Hopefully they post these reruns right away.
Yeah, it's very difficult, but he is getting a carapace upgrade, which is quite strong against Mutalisks.
There we go. Corruptors. Okay, very good.
Gear to play.
Limited matchup. This one really allows for so many different ways to tech and ways to approach the matchup.
Yeah, and look at that. The Hive at the same time for Raider. I believe he's going to be rushing up to get into Vipers. If he has Viper Corruptor, there's no way the Mutalisks will be able to engage that.
Nice little sniper on the gas.
Wow, I
It might
thought I
not
had
look like
gear.
much, but actually getting a lot of gas in the late game is
I guess I already put it on.
Anything you can do to slow him down is going to be huge. Now we have 18 Banelings about to finish up. It appears their waypoint is going to be down where that base is at the bottom. 5 o'clock. Help defend.
I'm gonna come back and do this.
Was absolutely perfect.
Actually been right before his Banelin speed finish. It just finished this moment, so a bit of an anti-time there from Dark. Pulling the trigger a little bit too quick.
Dark now coming in here with all these
Have a good night, my friend, and thanks for the sub.
The Lynx coming forward here as well as the drones are now being pulled away.
Oh, he is going to save his drones. So very good move right there. A single Baneling kind of catching up. Oh, a huge Baneling hit.
I will catch you in the morning,
12
sir.
drones taken out, but is that actually enough? Dark has only a small drone advantage right now after that big attack.